Hey guys, it's me, Halloween Dan. Today's video is me sort of chatting on about how much I love Halloween again. I've sort of done videos about different things that make me love Halloween recently. I've spoken several times about my love of the paranormal and how much that is a big part of my love of Halloween. I've spoken about my love of the autumn time and that time of year and the magical eeriness at that time of year and all that kind of stuff, and being a big part of why I love Halloween. But there is another really big part that makes Halloween for me and probably got me more into Halloween than I have really ever thought about. But without Halloween, just wouldn't be Halloween. And that is the TV programs and movies that I grew up with that have made me into Halloween. That without, I'm not so sure I would be as into Halloween as I am. Before we get into this, if you could just give this video a quick like and subscribe if you can, hit that notify bell. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much. So let's just delve into this one. So I've said this before, when I was growing up, the best movies, the best TV programs, the best sitcoms, the best cartoons, whatever it was, came out of America. And I absolutely loved everything America made. I was addicted. I mean, especially as a kid and a preteen, I would watch programming by Nickelodeon and the likes constantly. I was obsessed. And that link to American shows, because American shows do something, that I've thought about this. This is something British shows never do. American shows do holiday specials. British shows maybe do them a little bit now, but when I was growing up, they certainly didn't. And of course, American shows, so you'd have like a Valentine's Day special, a Christmas special, a Easter special, or this special, that special. And there'd always be a Halloween special. And it was those ones that I would always really connect to and I loved more than any other. So one of my favourite shows as like a preteen, maybe even just as a teenager, was Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Absolutely loved that programme. The minute it was on, I loved everything about it. It was magical, it was mystical, it was funny, it was stupid. It just had everything you want in a show, at least as far as I was concerned. And when it came to Halloween, being that Sabrina was a witch, those shows, those Halloween specials were always the biggest, the brightest, the loudest, the most ridiculous, the most outrageous characters and costumes and events and parties. And me as a kid would watch programs like that and be like, wow, this is epic. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do things like this? I mean, I know it was all made up, but it was over dramatized for TV, but it was still really, really cool. The other Nickelodeon show that I used to watch that you would think I didn't like because I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to spooky, scary stuff was Are You Afraid of the Dark? Now, if you grew up in the 90s, you know what all Are You Afraid of the Dark is. It was the best show for spookiness that you could ever come across. The stories were always extra spooky. Everything about that show just screamed Halloween, apart from the fact it was all about spooky, scary. The intro, I remember it now, the music. You'd be led into this sort of like playground with swings swinging, and there was an attic with like a creepy doll, and then there was like ooh, and all this. The people in it were like sat around a campsite sat around a fire in the woods, and they'd sprinkle some dust onto the fire, and then they'd tell their story, and you felt like you were there with them listening to this campfire story. We're always of like a slightly paranormal, slightly ghosty, spooky genre. Some, I have to admit, I did find a bit too scary as a sort of pre-teenage, like being about 10, 11, 12. But most I really enjoyed, and I'd watch them again and again and again because they were always on repeat. So they were the best TV shows around as far as I was concerned, especially for sort of Halloween vibes. And they, in turn, sort of got my pre-teen mind churning over Halloween and got me really sort of interested into it, along with lots of other things, which of course we've already discussed. But then there were the movies. Now, as I've already said, wasn't a fan of horror movies. Never was into horror movies, never into the horror genre. So none of my Halloween movies are those kind of Halloween movies. But I did really like, they were always the family-friendly end of the scale, well, most of them. And without a doubt, my favourite, 100% favourite Halloween movie is Hocus Pocus. Now, if you've never seen Hocus Pocus, what rock have you been living under? But it's got everything. It's got witches and witchcraft. It's got black cats. It's got a zombie guy. It's got mystical magicalness. It happens on Halloween itself. It's just everything you want, or that I would want, in a Halloween movie. And it's brilliantly written, brilliantly acted. You can't ask for a better set of actors than this movie produces. Some of the imagery and the lines in this movie are epic. And I remember the first time I saw that, I was about 9. I think it was 1993. So I was 9. It just blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. This is so good. These witches were hilarious. They were really, really funny. It's hard to make a witch who wants to suck the souls and life out of children into characters that you actually like and want to sort of prevail in a strange kind of a way. And it takes place in Salem, and it's all very spooky and creepy and old. And I remember my favourite sort of section of that movie, I love the whole thing, but my favourite sort of section is the bit just before the witches are brought back to life, where Max and he's taking his sister Danny around Salem trick-or-treating, and he doesn't really want to be there, and she's really into it. And the decorations and all the skeletons popping up out of the coffin and the pumpkins and everything. And I remember watching it as a kid being like, oh my God, is this how people celebrate Halloween? I think that was probably the first time I'd ever seen anyone celebrate Halloween that way. And I just loved it. The minute I saw it, I was like, this is something I've got to start doing. I've got to start doing this. It just gets better and better. And and then they go to the Sanderson house. They light the black flame candle.
Max, she's right. Let's go.
Oh, come on. It's just a bunch of hocus pocus.
They come back from the dead. It's all spooky. You've got cauldrons. You've got magic spells. You've got smoke and cool stuff. It just is the most epic Halloween movie. It's like Halloween concentrated, put in a bottle. You can't ask for anything better when it comes to Halloween, as far as I'm concerned. And I could just watch that movie again and again and again, and I do. And Halloween without that movie just wouldn't be Halloween. And I do think a big part of why I love Halloween, and I'm always trying to replicate that version of Halloween with the big pumpkins and the decorations and the creepy witchiness. That's my version of Halloween. That is what I love about Halloween, right there in that movie. The other movies that sort of inspired me and made me love Halloween are slightly more contentious, I suppose. The second of my movies was The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is artistically brilliant. It is the craftsmanship that goes into that movie, just the stop motion animation and stuff, is beautifully done. It's just on another scale, and it's an absolute classic. Everything about that movie is beautifully orchestrated. The music is great. The songs are amazing. And it is, for many people, the epitome of Halloween. I love that opening scene, that this is Halloween, where it's going into Halloween Town. That is just like, I could watch that on repeat. That is an epic moment. And just the overall look is beautiful. And it was one of their movies, I'd watch it with my sister because we'd watch it at Halloween, and then we'd watch it again at Christmas because it kind of felt like it existed in both worlds, being that he's trying to steal Christmas and make it a bit Halloween-y. That was epic to me, and I absolutely loved that movie. But I know that it's weird, that movie. It's not everyone's favourite, and it's sort of, is it a kid's film? Is it an adult's film? Where does it sit? I'm not overly sure, but do you know what? I don't care. I just really, really like it. The last movie is not one that, I don't think it really got me into Halloween. I think I was already really into Halloween by this point. But it still plays an important role in the sort of way I like to do Halloween, I suppose. And that is Sleepy Hollow. It's Tim Burton's version of Sleepy Hollow. So it's yet again another Tim Burton movie that means quite a lot to me. And there's, again, it's not so much what's going on in that movie. It's the atmosphere that Tim Burton manages to create in that movie. The eerie, creepy, dark overtones of that movie. The spooky sort of look of the place. The buildings are dark and creepy. The music is and all kind of creepy. And the woods, and obviously the Headless Horseman and all that. I love that story of the Headless Horseman and stuff. And just the look of it aesthetically. I love that. The creepy old house with the pumpkin out on the porch, and again it takes place at Halloween, so it's got that creepy autumn Halloween vibe, the witchcraft side of it too, it's the ghost story side of it too. It's just got everything that I love about Halloween. And when it first came out, it was like, yeah, this is Halloween right here. This is what I love about Halloween, this creepy eeriness that I can't ever really describe exactly what it is. I can't ever really just put my finger on exactly what it is that I like. It's the mist and the creepiness and the, I don't know, something about people in hooded cloaks and lanterns, that kind of look, that creepy, spooky, eerie vibe that film is just absolutely full of. It's what I love about Halloween. One of the many things I love about Halloween. So these movies, these shows are what really got me into Halloween. Not the only thing. There's many other things that we've discussed in the past. But these were the things that I would watch at Halloween that sort of inspired me to sort of want to replicate in some small way what I'd seen. And I think without them, particularly some of the TV shows like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, that I doubt I would ever have sort of started doing Halloween how I do with the decorations and stuff, because it just isn't that big of a thing in the UK. And seeing shows like that and seeing how Americans did Halloween was a big part of what led me to do Halloween the way I did it. So yeah, that's it for me. But I'd love to hear what you guys think. Are my inspirations, the things that I liked about Halloween, are they cool or are they kind of sad? What is it that you watch at Halloween that got you into Halloween, or maybe just sort of solidified your love of Halloween? Or is there a particular movie or a particular TV program that when you saw it you were like, yes, bing, light bulb moment, this is what I now want to do for Halloween. It makes so much sense to me. I'd love to hear what it was, your light bulb moment when watching either a film or a TV show that made you go, this is how I'm now going to celebrate Halloween forever. But you know, it's all just a bunch of hocus pocus. On that note, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Keep it spooky. Bye.